Welcome, everyone. I am Will, and this is the Will Podcast. This segment, we are going to dive into what is going to happen with the real estate market post election 2024. I know the left is telling you if their guy gets elected, everything's going to be great, and the other side is telling you that everything is going to burn, and vice versa. So, we're going to take a look at some data and see what is exactly going to happen with the real estate market in 2025 based off of historical data, not people's opinion. Stick around. All right, everybody. First, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to share some data that is going to come from Fidelity Home Group. I am in no way, shape, or form associated with them, but I love the detail in which they put together this report. So we are going to pull that up on the screen here. So the question is, do the elections impact the housing market? Typically what happens in an election year, especially a presidential election cycle, is the housing market tends to slow down. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, housing market picks up in the summertime as school starts to get back in the full swing of thing. Home sales start to slow down. Every 4 years, when we have our presidential election, that slowdown seems to kind of linger a little more as we roll into November to see what's going to happen with the economy. And for the last 3 or 4 election cycles, it's been doom and gloom across the map, right? So what we want to do is we want to take a quick look at what historically what has happened, right? We're going to so what we want to do is take a look at historically what has happened in the past to kind of get a gauge for what may happen in the future. So the first thing is there's a lot of other factors that go into what's happening in the economy other than who gets elected president. Let's just put that there. Is that a factor? Yes, absolutely. Does it play a role in policy and all of those things? Yes, absolutely. But still, the market is still going to do what the market's going to do to a certain extent. So when we look at the last 11 election cycles, as you're going to see here, 9 out of the last 11 election cycles, home sales went up post election. So, a couple of reasons for that. One, everything has slowed down because people were waiting to see what was going to happen. Now, what happened happened. Everything didn't burn. We continue to move forward. So people are still moving. They're taking jobs in different places. They need to relocate for different reasons, help family, help friends, whatever the case may be. So if you have to sell, you have to buy, you still have to do those things, regardless of who is the president. So what we see is we go back to 1979. Housing market dropped. The economy in the 80s was in the tank. Then it started to increase. Late 80s, dropped a little bit, and then it continued to have this rapid increase all the way up until the early 2000s. And we all know what happened in 2008, 2009. But you started to see some of that take place long before most people knew what was happening with the Great Recession and the bubble bursting in the housing market. But now, what's happened since then? The market has continued to increase both in equity prices, even in the midst of all of the interest rate hikes and different things that have happened. The housing prices and housing sales have continued to increase, but specifically after a presidential election. So, does this mean that this trend is going to increase after the 2024 election? I have a belief that it's not going to have the same trend as we've seen over in the last, 10 years or so. And here's why. You'll notice from 2006, after each election, it increased. And the years surrounding it also had an increase or remained the same. So what have we seen in 2022 and 2023? We have seen a decrease. So I am anticipating 2024, when the year is finished, for that decrease to remain flat in 2023. And I don't think that we're going to see as much of a spike going into 2025. There's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it has to do is we are so divided as a country. We are so divided in our thought processes. We are so divided in our candidates that it makes it even more difficult for our economy to work the way that it is supposed to work when everybody is too busy arguing and fighting instead of working and producing. You understand what I'm saying? So you take a look here, you see 2022, 2023 home sales had a tendency to go down. So I think that we're going to see that trend continue and maybe flatten out. I hope it flattens out because that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because as we've talked about in previous videos, the average home price, the median sale price right now in 2024 is 440-ish thousand dollars a year, whereas in the median income nationwide is much lower than would take to purchase a home of that size. So this is what I want to tell you to do. If you need to make a decision that is going to benefit yourself, your livelihood, your home, where you're living, your family, then make that decision based off of facts and data, and don't make that decision based off of fear and emotion. Because the other interesting trend that we have with the home sales is the home prices, the value, so the equity. On average, over the last 8 election cycles, the equity in the home has increased 7% post-election. So if you were to purchase and close on a home today, theoretically, this time next year, you have an increase of 7% in equity. So if you are waiting, if you have the credit score, you have the income, you have all of the reasons to purchase a home today, the probability that that same home is going to be at minimum 7% more expensive this time next year is pretty high going off of the historical data. So if you have to buy, if you need to buy, if you want to buy, don't let the election fear keep you from making that decision. Chances are everything isn't going to burn. We are going to still be here. The world will still be turning, no matter who becomes president next year. So, the big thing that I can leave you with today is do not operate in fear. Operate based off of facts and figures and allow discernment to guide your decisions, not what the media is telling you. The traditional media in this day and age is hyper negative, and they will take one piece, 2022, 2023, home sales are down. Okay, we know that. But if we historically look back, and this isn't the first time the home sales have been down. So I think if we keep level heads about us, learn how to communicate with each other, and be productive members of society, I think we can see things move in the right direction. Also, we are anticipating a about a quarter per, about a quarter percent rate decrease coming end of September. So that's going to kind of stir movement a little bit, specifically in the refi market and in the purchase market a little bit too. Because if you've purchased 7, 8, 9 months ago and you were at 7.5, knocking on 8%, then yeah, it might make sense for you to refi if you have the equity to do so, to save a little bit of money depending on what the fees and things cost. And I'm not a mortgage broker, so I need you to consult a professional before you get into that. So So, yes, there is uncertainty and there will always be uncertainty, but do not allow fear to be your motivator and your driver. Allow yourself to walk with integrity and honesty and just steward what you have in front of you to the best of your ability. I want to thank you for taking a look at this video today. We are going to continue to do educational videos like this to hopefully help you make the decisions in all aspect of your lives. We also have the Will podcast where we bring in people from around the country that are leading with their faith, that are doing positive things for society and the communities in which they live in. So if you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe to the channel. We look forward to seeing you soon. Be blessed.